The warning signs are flashing red. What is coming between 2026 and 2030 is not just another economic downturn or a minor political scuffle. We are entering a period of systemic breakdown, a perfect storm that could unleash the most violent political decade in over 100 years. What they don't tell you is that this isn't a theory. It's a predictable cycle, and we are standing at the edge of the abyss. The elites and central bankers are quietly preparing for the fallout, but the public is being told to ignore the evidence. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about connecting the dots before the final domino falls. The system as you know it is about to face its ultimate test, and the clock is ticking. History doesn't just rhyme. It repeats with devastating precision. Every major wave of political violence in the last century was preceded by a financial collapse. Look at the 1920s. The Roaring Twenties ended in the 1929 crash, which plunged the world into the Great Depression and directly fueled the rise of fascism and global conflict. Then came the 1970s, a decade of stagflation and oil shocks that triggered revolutions, coups, and widespread political chaos from South America to the Middle East. Fast forward to 2008. The financial crisis didn't just wipe out savings. It lit the fuse for the Arab Spring and the Occupy movements, exposing deep cracks in the global order. Now, the current global economic cycle is showing the exact same symptoms, but this time, the scale is global. We are entering what experts call the social breaking point, a phase where economic pain metastasizes into political rage. The coming crisis won't be a repeat of 2008. It will be an order of magnitude worse. Fueling this fire is a demographic time bomb that is set to explode. Across the Western world, aging populations are placing an unbearable strain on welfare states that are already teetering on the brink of insolvency. Pensions, healthcare, and social security systems were not designed for this reality, and their inevitable collapse will pit generations against each other. At the same time, a massive generation of young people is economically trapped. They face a future of low mobility, crushing student debt, and the impossibility of owning a home. This isn't just frustration. It's a powder keg of resentment waiting for a spark. To make matters worse, immigration tensions are boiling over in Europe, the United States, and even parts of Asia, creating a volatile cocktail of cultural and economic anxiety that politicians are already exploiting for their own gain. As these pressures mount, the very foundations of government are crumbling. Public trust in institutions is at an all-time low. People no longer believe in the legitimacy of elections, the impartiality of the justice system, or the honesty of the traditional media. There's a rising, powerful belief that the entire system is rigged, a private club where elites make the rules to benefit themselves while everyone else pays the price. This sentiment that the state no longer represents the people isn't just a fringe conspiracy theory anymore. It's a mainstream conviction. Historically, this level of institutional decay is the final stage before a system collapses into open conflict. When people believe the game is rigged, they eventually decide to stop playing by the rules and flip the entire table. This loss of faith is supercharged by an unprecedented level of political polarization. We are no longer debating policy. We are engaged in tribal warfare. The political landscape has fractured into hardened ideologies: left versus right, globalist versus nationalist, elite versus populist. The middle ground, the space for compromise and reason, has vanished. It has been replaced by a digital battlefield where social media algorithms are programmed to amplify outrage, division, and conflict. These platforms don't just reflect our divisions. They create them, pushing people into echo chambers of extremism where the other side is not just wrong, but evil. This isn't a political debate. It's a cold civil war, and the first shots are already being fired online. The core driver of this mass resentment is the systematic destruction of the middle class. For decades, the social contract was simple: work hard, play by the rules, and you can build a better life for your family. That promise is now broken. Real wages have stagnated or declined for millions, while the cost of living, food, energy, healthcare, has skyrocketed. The ultimate symbol of this crisis is the collapse of housing affordability. Homeownership, once the bedrock of middle-class stability, is now an impossible dream for an entire generation. History shows us a clear pattern. When people can no longer afford a roof over their heads, their loyalty to the system evaporates. This isn't just an economic problem. It's a direct threat to social stability. A population with nothing to lose is a population that is ready to burn it all down. While domestic tensions are reaching a boiling point, the global order is violently reorganizing. The era of American dominance is over, and the resulting power vacuum is creating chaos. The rivalry between the United States and China is no longer a trade dispute. It's a full-blown confrontation for global supremacy, and flashpoints like Taiwan could ignite a major war at any moment. At the same time, Russia's geopolitical aggression in Ukraine has sent shockwaves across the globe, creating energy crises, food shortages, and new, unstable alliances. We are witnessing the birth of a new world order, as emerging economies in the BRICS bloc build their own financial and political systems to challenge the West. This isn't a peaceful transition. It is a high-stakes geopolitical endgame where old alliances are fracturing and the risk of great power conflict is higher than at any point since the Cold War. In previous eras of turmoil, technology was often a force for progress. Today, it is a weapon. The same tools that promised to connect us are now being used to tear us apart. We are entering an age of digital warfare where the truth itself is under assault. AI-powered propaganda, deepfakes, and real-time misinformation campaigns are being weaponized by state and non-state actors to fuel instability and chaos. Cyber attacks are no longer confined to stealing data. They are used to shut down critical infrastructure, cripple economies, and sow political discord. Worse still, digital platforms have become radicalization machines, using sophisticated algorithms to guide lonely and angry individuals down rabbit holes of extremism, transforming online rage into real-world violence. Technology is not reducing conflict. It's amplifying it to a terrifying new level. The timeline is what makes this so urgent. The years 2026 to 2030 represent a dangerous, clustering period for political change. An unusually high number of major nations, from the United States to key European and Asian powers, are scheduled to hold high-stakes elections and undergo leadership transitions within this narrow window. These elections are no longer just contests of ideas. They are ignition points for civil unrest. With societies already polarized, any close or contested result will be seen as illegitimate by the losing side, pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. We will see a clash of competing national narratives, accusations of foreign interference, and political drama that escalates global tensions to an unbearable peak. The most damning piece of evidence? Governments know this is coming. Behind the scenes, they are quietly preparing for mass civil unrest. Budgets for riot control, domestic surveillance, and emergency powers are being secretly expanded. Police forces in several Western countries are undergoing a process of militarization, being equipped with battlefield-grade weapons and equipment to use against their own citizens. At the same time, new laws are being rushed through legislatures, granting governments sweeping new authorities to declare emergencies, suspend civil liberties, and crush dissent during a crisis. They aren't preparing for a foreign invasion. They are preparing for a war at home. They see the writing on the wall, and their preparations are a chilling confirmation of the crisis to come. This is the perfect storm. It's not just one crisis we are facing, but a terrifying convergence of all of them at once. Economic instability, demographic pressures, a collapse of public trust, extreme polarization, geopolitical conflict, and weaponized technology are all peaking simultaneously. History teaches us that when multiple macro stressors like these collide, the result is never peaceful. The risk of political violence doesn't just increase, it spikes exponentially. The period between 2026 and 2030 aligns perfectly with the timelines of multiple overlapping crisis cycles, creating a window of maximum danger unlike anything seen in a century. This isn't a prediction, it is a warning. The end game is here, and the forces of chaos are gathering. You are being left unprepared for the irreversible change that is about to sweep the globe. The time to understand what is happening is running out.